We got a lot of talking today, Steph, but we wanted to shoot another quick little video. And kind of talk to our real estate community, our property management community, our insurance world community.
Yes.
They see Good Life everywhere. They see North American. And we've been asked this question, like, what's going on with Good Life? You've got different names: Good Life Inspections, Good Life Construction, Good Life Restoration. Then you've got this Tove thing going on with the engineering. And then there's North American Home Services. So we thought it'd be a great idea to just talk about mine and your relationship. That goes.
I'm getting stymied talking right now because the guy shooting this right now, his name is Vadim, and he wanted me to tone down my positive affirmations because I'm a coach. I coach people. It's why I'm a dad. I'm a coach, and I say yes, right on, cool, yes, yes. So I don't even know what to do with my hands right now.
No,
So,
you just be you.
I'll just be me.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have some positive affirmations in here. So I've known you since you were
15 years old.
Nope. I've known
Oh, you knew me since when I was 14.
I knew you even before that a little bit, just a little bit. You were still
Maybe.
kind of a kid,
Still have my diapers on.
And not the diapers quite yet, but you were a kid, and me and your dad met each other, fell in love. From a professional perspective, your dad didn't speak a lot of English, and it reminded me of my mother and my family where I'm from, because I wasn't born in this country. I was born in Europe. So I am a first-generation immigrant here.
Your mom was German.
Very German.
And your dad was Italian.
Yes.
That's a cool mix.
Through New York City. So both came through New York City. My mom was one of the last people to come through Ellis Island. So being from New York City, I had this cultural pull towards towards immigrants that work hard. And I met your dad, and I love him, and he's like my brother. To this day, we hug and give each other a kiss on the cheek. I think it weirds people out in the company. I don't care.
Who cares?
I don't care.
Yeah.
So met you. I'm not sure. We hired you. I think it was.
What time what was the year when you started working for North American Home Services?
2001.
So you got hired in 2001 for at that time was just a termite and a pest control company.
Just a termite and pest control company that actually had maybe 8 state complaints, the Structural Pest Control Board complaints.
Kind of a crappy company.
It was going through a rough time. A gentleman had bought it at that time who ended up being one of my very best friends and dear friends. We worked together. We pulled the company out of a really bad place together. And then we tried to build something together. And meeting your dad and meeting you is where it changed our trajectory. Because even for a small little company, we quadrupled our production. We cleaned up. We looked spiffy. We got it as far as we could get it at that time. And a lot of that was due to your dad and you coming on board and working with us.
So North American Termite and Pest Control is a company that was started here locally in Sacramento in 1978.
Correct. Yes.
A long time ago.
Long time.
It was run by like a pop and mom shop.
Yep.
And Charles Landman bought it 2000 or something like that. Hired you on.
Yep.
In 2001. And then you ended up hiring my dad in 2002.
Correct.
And then 2004 came around. I was 14 years old, 15 years old at that time.
For the state of California, you were 16, but yeah, you're probably 14 years old.
We're way
the
past
statute of limitations.
The statute of limitations.
We're cool.
We cool.
Yeah, we're cool. We don't do that anymore.
So it's my dad was a lead carpenter.
Yes.
Doing all the dry rot, termite work, bathroom remodels, etc. Everything. Yeah. Concrete.
Best we've ever seen.
Framer, roofer, everything in between, right? And my dad's a hardcore construction guy.
Yep.
No BS type of dude. Work hard or get out. He would not tolerate.
It was a balance. Christian. Ended up here.
No cuss words.
Because of faith. Christian, but there was a standard. There was an expectation that, when you come to work, you work hard. And I know that got passed along to you because I witnessed it firsthand.
Well, you probably don't know this, but you've had multiple crews construction crews working for you. My dad was one of them.
Yeah.
And the helper that worked with my dad would oftentimes tell my dad and say, "Hey, Alex, why are we working so fast? Look at other crews. They're like half as slow as us, you know. Why are you, we're getting an hourly wage and, you know, why are we trying to outpace everybody and, you know, just work. Maybe we can slack off a little bit." And my dad prides himself on saying, "Well, you don't like working with me? Then go work with the other crew."
Yeah. Yeah.
And his helper would go, "No, I don't want to go work. I want to work with you. I just want to understand." My dad's like, I don't care if I'm getting $16 an hour or $26 an hour. I'm doing me. I'm working as fast as I can,
Yeah.
as efficient as I can without compromising quality of work. And so I think that was a big component to North American making more money, because he would take a $3,000 job and go turn it around in one day with a helper.
It was the quality of work, and it was your dad was challenged in English. He could understand just about everything, but speaking it, and it didn't matter. And I hear people talk about that now in our organization today. People can tell if you care. The customers can tell.
Of course.
You pull up, you don't park in the driveway in case your truck leaks oil, right? Our trucks may have leaked oil back at that time. Not today anymore. We got fancy trucks. But cleaning up, sweeping up, carrying groceries for the customers, the love and appreciation of the job. Our customers could feel that with your dad and with the Slavic people that he ended up bringing in here. And that's what set us on the trajectory to start climbing and passing everyone.
So you guys are running North American at the time. 2004, my father brings me along on a Saturday to your personal house.
Yes.
You asked him to do some work at your personal house
Yeah.
in Roseville, and tells me I'm 14 years old, or 15. I'm probably 15 years by that time. And tells me that I need to go work with him.
Yep.
And me and my friends were supposed to go cliff diving up in the, Auburn, Auburn rivers up there, the American river forks. And he pretty much told me, said, "I don't care. You need to demo this bathroom, your master bathroom, which had the little tile laid over all the floor, countertops and walls, tub and shower, over the mortar bed with the chicken wire.
3-inch mortar bed.
And he says, you tear this out and throw it in the dumpster in the front driveway, and then you can go wherever you want." And I think I demoed that thing in a few hours and tossed it in the dumpster. And you offered me a job that day. You said, "Why don't you come work for us?"
Yeah.
And it was interesting because we negotiated about an hourly wage, and you said you'll pay me $12 an hour. But you forgot to ask how old I am.
Yeah, I did. I actually didn't care. I saw the quality of work. Your dad actually, I was telling the story last night to another employee of ours that's a similar age as me. I bought that house. I had moved from Elk Grove to Roseville, and I made money on a new home that I bought in Elk Grove, and I had a budget of X amount of dollars. It was maybe $100,000 to try to fix the house up. The house was too big for me. I was over my head. I was paying 2 mortgages. So I slept on a cot in that house. And for 3 straight months, I would get off of work and get there by 6 o'clock at night. And from 6 o'clock at night until 2 o'clock in the morning, I would do all the work by myself. And it broke me. Your father saw the look on my face. I would come into work at 6 o'clock the next day, and I had bags under my eyes, and I looked exhausted. And he goes, "What are you doing?" And I shared with him that I was working, 10, 12 hours a day at North American, then another 8 to 10 hours a day on my own house. So he came out and offered the help. And I just couldn't have him come out. He was not charging anything, just so you know. He was coming out as a human being to help me. Don't know if you know that story.
I didn't know that. I actually didn't know that.
And that wasn't right. And I planned on spending money, but I was trying to spend the money on like materials and flooring and fixing the HVAC. So the Slavic guys that worked with your dad, they were coming out of the goodness of the heart to help me. It could almost get me teary-eyed right now.
Yeah, well, I guess that's why he made me come out and work for free that morning. But it was a good morning. I got that bathroom torn out. He offered me a job. 2 weeks later, I showed up for work and went to orientation, and the owner of the company back then, Charles Landman, realized that I'm underage trying to work a construction job with power tools and going up ladders and under houses. But I remember him trying to kind of back out of the deal, the job offer, and saying, "Hey, kid, maybe go back to high school or something." You kind of kept your word and said, "Let's work through this illegally, somewhat illegally," and paid me under the table, and I became a helper, a carpenter helper, for North American in 2004.
Yep.
And had one of the best. Worked for a couple different lead carpenters, but one of the best ones was Shane, this big ex-Navy SEALs dude, who taught me everything.
Yeah.
A lot of things, not everything, because the other gentleman also taught me a lot of work. But the best thing he did is he would give great feedback to our office manager at the time, who was Debbie. And we would come back and he'd just go, "Hey, this 15-year-old kid, Dimitri, is really good. He did tile work today. He did this." And I wanted to do everything I could, framing, foundation work, roofing work, siding, windows, doors, all that stuff. And he would just brag about me, which most of the other guys wouldn't do. They'd take the credit for themselves.
That's right.
And I do a lot of work out there. And so when he got a DUI about a year later, and you had to fire him because you couldn't insure him any longer, you offered me a lead technician carpenter position. And so I became a lead carpenter at 16 years old.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting, and then you hired me a driver, Boris. You said, "Hey, Dimitri, you need to drive around, but you're 16 years
You were
old.
too young to get insured.
So find yourself a helper who could be your driver." We hired Boris, cut him a luck. That was a cool guy. Worked with a youth pastor from Second Slavic Baptist Church. And then we grew at that point in time, started doing a lot of work. By the time I was 18 years old, I became a termite inspector, and then started training for a home inspector position.
Correct.
And so that was a great run with North American.
You were also running the largest jobs we had at 16 years old. We specialized in a reverse mortgage product. We did reconstruction services. We were the #1 company doing that type of reconstruction in the state of California. And you were independently working Bakersfield, San Francisco, all over the map. And you were running. And at those times, those were really big jobs for us. $40,000 job, $70,000 job, $80,000 job, working off of a termite report. Very complex jobs. And we were budgeting for 3-4 weeks, and you would get them done in 2 weeks.
Well, I think the trust, right? There was the trust. Well, I should appreciate. You guys didn't really pay me a lot of money. I think I got like $22 an hour to lead jobs with 9, 10, sometimes 11 crew guys.
Yep.
But what was exciting is I had a credit card that had a $100,000 limit on it.
Yeah.
And I could go rent hotels and buy materials and meet with building inspectors and pass inspections and put in, kitchen cabinets and countertops and flooring.
Dealing with customers. I believe it was the best training ground to this day that any business person can have in the reconstruction world, which is why we are what we are today. To have, when you're dealing with senior citizens, when you're dealing with real estate transactions, you've got a buyer, you have a seller. There's competing interests all the time. We're doing an inspection on a property for a seller, and they don't really want to spend money to sell the house. And the buyer wants us to find everything that's wrong there. And here you were at 16 years old, pinned in the middle of these transactions with adults, with people with 25 to 30 years of experience. And there you are at 16 years old, negotiating.
Pressure, being pushed, squeezed.
Having to and you figured it out every time and did amazing work. And I believe that was the foundation that enabled you to grow into becoming what you are today.
Yeah. So to move quicker on the story a little bit, I quit North American Home Services at 19 years old and went to volunteer for a year, building a church as a volunteer, one of the best things I've ever done. And at 20, about 19 and a half, 20 years old, I started doing side jobs and didn't go back to working for a company, just started doing side work as a handyman. My father, Alex, had his contractor license. He was still working for you as a carpenter at that time, but he had gotten his contractor license. So I took it.
Which is no easy feat.
It was really difficult for him to do it. He just wanted to get it just to prove, I guess, to himself that he could get a contractor license. And it was inactive. I activated it. And so I started Good Life Construction under his license just to do handyman work here and there, which grew, got more and more leads. Eventually, you called me and said, hey, Dimitri, we're getting really busy here. This is post-2008 crash. This is 2011, 2010, 11, saying, hey, market's kind of picking up. We need you back on our crew. At which point I said, hey, I'm already running my own company. Why don't you let me be your subcontractor? So I started being a subcontractor as Good Life Construction for North American Home Services at that time. The word spread pretty quickly, and other termite companies in Sacramento started using Good Life as their primary subcontractor to do all the reconstruction termite damage work. And there was a time in our existence that we were working for 14 different termite companies simultaneously at the same time. So if you were a realtor and you used a certain termite company to do your inspection and repairs, chances are all that I was, whichever company you hired, it was still Good Life doing the repairs on the back end. And then in 2016, Charles Landman, the previous owner of North American, called me up and said, hey, Dimitri, would you like to buy my company? At which point I said yes, and we bought North American Home Services, which was doing about 250 termite inspections a month at the time, maybe 100 home inspections a month at the time.
Yep.
A lot of the other termite companies turned away from me because they didn't want to continue giving work to Good Life since I now owned a company just like theirs and I was competing with them. So we went full power board on marketing, quality of work, quality of inspections, how fast we were turning inspections around. And we grew North American Home Services to be the biggest termite and home inspection company in Sacramento.
Correct.
We were tracking the market share to be up to 30%. So every third house that closed escrow in Sacramento was inspected by North American Home Services. Got to the point where we were doing about 600 to 800 termite inspections a month, doing about 400 home inspections a month.
Yeah.
That was before the interest rates went up. And the market's kind of slowing down since, but became the biggest inspection company in Sacramento. Still are. And from that point in time, we opened up Good Life Restoration, which has now become also one of the leading restoration firms after fire and water damage insurance work. And so about 2 years ago, we decided to rebrand North American Home Services into Good Life Inspections to kind of keep the family name together. So Good Life Inspections, Good Life Construction, Good Life Restoration, Good Life Best Solutions are all different corporations. And some of them we have to keep as different corporations because we have a little bit of a different ownership structure. And maybe that's for a different video, talking about how we do profit sharing with our managers and what makes us successful, how do we attract good talent and things like that. But we still have a branch left around for North American. What does that do, Stefan? Can you talk with our people?
The North American branch really has been inspecting in the community for a long time. It specializes now on our deck and balcony inspections. So our North American branch, specific to those laws, the laws that we talked about in a prior podcast, SB 721 and SB 326. So the North American brand is still alive, still well, very reputable. And right now it is doing deck and balcony inspections around the state of California.
For SB
721 and SB 326.
So, and the reason why we're keeping it a separate brand a separate, name a separate company, is for legal purposes. We want to make sure that it's properly insured.
Correct.
So it has to be separated, because when we have a corporation that does home and termite inspections, if we add on the deck and balcony inspections, the insurance that insures us to be
The underwriting parameters change.
they won't cover this other stuff. So when we do deck and balcony inspections, we want to make sure that they are properly insured in case we make a mistake and one of our customers
Correct.
has some sort of a issue, that our insurance covers it up and everything's taken care of. The other thing is there's this, idea of conflict of interest. If an inspection company does the inspection and then it actually comes back and offers to do the repairs later on. And so we want to make sure that even though we're partnered and we have some cross ownership happening in those two different companies, but it is still a different corporation, different insurance. The ownership structure isn't 100% exactly the same.
It's a different management team, different technicians.
Completely different group of people. They don't work for multiple companies at the same time.
The deck and balcony, the North American Deck and Balcony Company, their goal, their focus is completing these deck and balcony inspections for multi-unit properties and for condominiums, getting out there quickly, issuing a great report, a clearly narrated report with pictures and findings. If it's an SB 326, they make recommendations, and that's where the buck stops. It's clean. It's a clean break from there. If people want to get work done, then they have the ability to contact a sister company called Tove, and Tove could go out there and get engineering done, get the permit secured, and do their thing. And if they want to and they're interested, they could contact Good Life Construction, and Good Life Construction can go out there with a ton of reconstruction experience, take a look at the deck and balcony reports, understand them, take a look at the permit, look at the engineering, and then actually bid the work to get it completed.
Yeah, so that's exciting. So if you're asking all these questions, like why are there so many different Good Lives? We started out as Good Life Construction in 2009. We incorporated in 2011. And we were mostly a home improvement building contractor, general contractor in Sacramento area. What really propelled us is doing work for other termite companies that brought in a lot of revenue and helped us buy new trucks and hire more people. Sometime around 2000, I want to say 14, I actually started investing a little bit of money into Google and Yelp, building up, asking people to leave us leads and reviews online, which opened us up to the online community, which is now kind of everything. There's not a Yellow Pages anymore. When you were talking about me being a crew guy for North American, using the Thomas guide,
that's all we had.
map, and then later on using MapQuest, so when we would come out to San Francisco to do a job, you had to like ask people, is there a Home Depot around here?
Yeah.
What's the closest Low? Is there a dump?
Yeah.
Where we all use digital stuff now on our phone, we can find everything. So that's how Good Life Construction grew into becoming the leading home improvement company here in Sacramento, because we have a ton of reviews online. I don't even know how much we have, but we maintain really close to 5 stars. And so Good Life had to evolve and become, instead of just a home improvement company, we become other things. And so that's why we were able to expand into the restoration world, eventually expand into the engineering world. And I call it organic growth.
There's a common thread. Like, you are the common thread. The family's the common thread. Loving the customers is a common thread. Our niche is everything reconstruction in Northern California. That's what we do. We maintain properties. We do reconstruction on properties. We have the trades. We have our own people in-house that do framing, that do insulation, that do stucco work, that do windows with our own hands. We're not counting on subcontractors all the time to do work. That's what sets us apart from everyone else. And we've been doing it for a very, very long time. And it made sense. We had all these vehicles on the road, And I could tell you now, there's not almost a day that goes by where I don't get a text message, something on Instagram. I can pull my phone up and show you Snapchat where I see Good Life everywhere. See a Good Life guy at the gym, see a Good Life realtor wearing a hat, at a restaurant. Then they turn the corner and go to Home Depot. There's another Good Life truck, and then they go into the community. We are more than 200 people strong. We live where our customers live. We eat where our customers eat. We pray where many of our customers pray. We are embedded in the community now. We are part of the community.
What makes Good Life different? And so people ask me all the time, why are all these companies? Why are there so many brands? Why are you guys having so many trucks on the road? And if you wanted an answer to that, it's very simple, guys. It's I call it organic growth. What makes us really strong in Sacramento, if you're in Sacramento, you know who Good Life is. You see us on the road, you see us in your gym, but it was never intended to be a big company. We're never intended to have over 200 employees, to have over 100 trucks on the road. I call it organic growth. And what we're really good here in Good Life is that we're really good at raising leaders. And so Tove is a good example. The drafting and engineering firm, a little more than 2 years ago, we had a young, beautiful, smart lady come into our office and interview for a position to help us get plans and permits put through the building department, just as a coordinator position. She came in, Mary came in and said, hey, I can help you guys speed up the process and be the coordinator, put plans and permits. And we hired her. She's an awesome gal, really smart young lady. And we started working with her in many ways. You've had many meetings with her. Yep. Asia, who's our finance director, spent quite a bit of time coaching her on some systems and processes. I've been doing my pastoral thing, coming up to her and saying, hey, Mary, let's talk about some personal issues you're going through. And she was kind of evolving, and she was the person who said, hey, why don't we hire in-house architects and drafters? And I was like, well, I don't even know how to do that. Where do we get him? She's like, well, I know where to get him because I've worked with many of these people. I went to school with them. I go to church with them. So I said, go ahead. And she hired a few drafters and turned out to be some of the best drafters in the Sacramento area, and then a little bit of time went on by and she says, why don't we hire an in-house engineer? And so we did, and then time came, let's hire another engineer, and so now we have 11 people on staff. We're breaking that away from Good Life Construction into a separate corporation. We're offering we have a couple leaders that are rising in that department. And we do something here at Good Life that we call profit sharing, where the managers and the leaders that lead our departments, we do profit sharing with them. They get a salary plus a cut of the profit of whatever that company is doing. And eventually that profit rolls over for them into actual ownership of the company to where they become having some equity. So that's why every division eventually evolves into having a little bit of a different ownership, because there's the majority ownership of me and my family that started the company and invested and raised up these people. But it is these young talent people that are in their season of life where they're in their mid-30s. They've got a couple of kids that really want to completely invest themselves into raising the standard in the industry and raising the bar into whatever it is, whether it's engineering, whether it's in restoration, that are running these divisions.
And that doesn't show up on a profit and loss statement, does it?
No, I mean, it doesn't show up. It actually costs us a lot of money because oftentimes we're going to hire people and just invest our soul into them. And then they turn out to be awesome leaders. We've got Vadim sitting over here watching us as we're shooting this video. 4 years ago, we wanted to do our own digital marketing in-house. And someone introduced me to Vadim and said, hey, this guy is interested in the position. And when I interviewed Vadim, I was like, dude, what's your last job you had? And he said, I was a manager at a t-shirt printing shop that went bankrupt. But I studied social media and digital marketing back at the college 5 years prior. And I was like, well, I don't care how much you know about digital media or social media or marketing. I just want to make sure you've got the work ethic, the honor, the integrity, you know, we can learn all that other stuff. And so we invested into Vadim. The first, I want to say 6 months, we were paying him something like a $6,000 a month salary. Maybe it was five Vadim. I don't remember what it was. And he wasn't producing. It was just us investing into him. You know, we were just paying him, and I was showing him what I was doing for SEO. I was showing him what I was doing for email campaigns and Yelp and Google and all the other stuff that we do for digital marketing. So it was just an expense, and he could have not worked out, you know, and then he's kind of picked up from where I left off, and maybe for the next year, he paid for his own salary, you know, and then he became an expert. He kept on learning, reading, taking classes, going places, following other people.
Getting out of his comfort zone. He, being a digital marketing guy, he was not necessarily super comfortable. It may not still be to this day super comfortable chatting with people the way you and I are. And he puts himself in these uncomfortable positions to come out and meet and chat with people, and he wants to grow. We had a conversation about you this morning. You don't know this. It was one of our lead Good Life construction estimators, Vadim, and myself. And we were talking about some life experiences I've had, and we were talking about his wife maybe helping us with some of our social media marketing stuff. And we were talking about those seasons of life and impact. I'm 56 years old. I have taken a gamble in life on business, and I've watched other business people. I've worked for a couple other larger companies, and I've watched people, owners, CEOs, COOs, and the only objective oftentimes was the bottom line, the net profit. You flipped that around. We worked on it together, where the initial, 3 goals of this company and many companies was X% net profit. We talk about this. The revenue goal, offering the best customer service, and then having a good work environment for the people, for the employees. You flip that. You put the employees first.
It's weird. So for those of you guys watching, if you care at all, I don't even know if anybody's going to watch this, but when I bought North American Home Services from Charles, who is one of the brightest minds, business minds you're ever going to meet, I think he does some coaching out there. Charles Landman, look him up. If you need some business coaching, definitely get a hold of him. But Charles is a high D. He's a very dominant person. He's very organized. He's very goal oriented. Thinks differently than I do, completely differently. It's not bad or good, but just different, right? And so he told me, Dimitri, when January's coming around, I bought the company in October. Within a few months, we were entering the new year, and he was kind of coaching me on how to take over his company. And he said, you got to send out a goal to your whole company. And he showed me his last year's goals. And the goal number one was do $2 million in revenue at 15%
Net profit.
So essentially he's sending an email to the whole company and saying, hey, I want you guys to earn me $300,000 next year. It's kind of the goal of the company. Goal number two is raise the bar and quality of work in this industry. So, evolve, innovate within your industry. And then goal number 3 on his list was provide a better working environment for all the employees. Well, because in my mind, I almost felt guilty. I'm like, this almost feels like a sin, like something dirty. I don't even know if I have enough confidence to tell my employees that your job is to make me a bunch of profit. I felt guilty about doing something like that. And so I just took that number one goal about profit and revenue and I set it aside. I'm like, I'm not even going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to flip it. And we said, our goal here at North American Home Services at that time is to take care of our employee to the point where the employees feel loved and cared for. And an employee that is loved and cared for is going to love and care on our customers, and our customers that are going to be satisfied and happy by great service and quality of work will pay their bills and refer us to more clients, which will result in a profit and growth in revenue. And so we completely threw that profit out of the window and said that's never a goal. The profit is a result of what we do. It's the fruit of our labor, but not the goal. It's not why we do this. We don't do this for money.
Correct.
And so that's what made us different. That's what enables us to invest into guys like Vadim, invest into the Marys, invest into the Seans, that we have who are making a complete difference. Why are we so strong? We have all these internal people that work for us that we've completely invested into. And there's a ton of people we invested into and they left, or they turned up not being appreciative or not really doing anything back. And that's okay, because we don't do it for the money. We do it to love people. But it is the core of loyal, caring, and loving personnel that were raised up within our company from the inside.
I've also, the other quick sharing, and it used to freak me out a little bit. You helped a number of companies in this part of California launch. You literally shared with them we don't have too much competition, but they could be viewed as competition. You've shared the secret sauce and you have shared things, but the one thing they couldn't replicate is, that love of the people, of your own people, to grow these different leaders that we're talking about. I had never seen anyone basically help other people launch who are bidding against us. And you're like, you know what? There's enough work for everyone. If we're good, we're going to do our thing. You've never been motivated by the net profit bottom line dollar.
There is probably about 10 companies here in Sacramento that compete with us for work, compete with us for employees, that I helped get started. And I shared every secret in the book.
Yes.
One of the secrets on how... Here's another one. Here's a good one, guys. For digital media, digital marketing. When I started our first website in 2011, I hired a web developer back in the day. It was just, the industry was just starting. Like, websites were not a very fancy thing back then. It's crazy how fast time moves. The guy that was developing our website, our first Good Life Construction website back then, came to me and said, look, Dimitri, I've analyzed 20 other top contractors in Sacramento, and here's the top keywords that everybody is putting on their website. Every contractor in Sacramento wants to focus on bathroom remodels, kitchen remodels, siding, painting, flooring, windows, doors. And so when you go to Google and you search for contractor that does additions or remodels or flooring, there's like 5,000 contractors in Sacramento that have websites that are pretty much the same exact thing, competing for that top 3 position on Google so you'd be found. And so when I thought about it, I was like, hey, listen, I do bathroom remodels, I do additions, I do flooring and windows and doors, but instead of putting those keywords in our website, let's do something very different. And so I said, why don't we say that we offer the service of dry rot repair? So that's one of our keywords. And then we're going to do rotted wood repair. And then we did termite damage repair. And then we did water damage wood repair. And so like these weird keywords. And he was saying, hey, this isn't a very popular keywords. Like, you're not going to get a lot of customers Googling for these services. But what ended up happening is none of the other contractors had the same keywords. So there was what turned out to be is we had about 100 clients in the Sacramento region that would get on Google and look for a dry rot contractor or a water damage siding contractor, repair contractor. And because all the other websites were marketing for additions, remodels, flooring, windows, and doors, and my website was specifically speaking to those keywords, I would get about 100 customers that would call us. I paid $0 for marketing on Google, and I would get 100 calls and saying, hey, I've got dry rot on my house. I'm looking for a contractor. You're the only one that comes up on Google. So we would go out and service these customers. And so when I had people that worked for me that branched off and opened up their own companies, or friends from the community that said, hey, Dimitri, what are you doing to be successful? I told them, which is like, why would you share a secret when you have a secret that's working for you? And many guys, I would tell, hey, you're not on Yelp. You need to be on Yelp. And I know this gentleman because I worked with him on a framing crew back in the day, and so he says, I don't know how to start a Yelp. I'm a contractor. I would go to their house at 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
After putting my kids to sleep, get on their computer at their house, show them how to open up a Yelp page, ask them, hey, can I get some pictures off your phone of work you've done? Post that, then get on my personal phone and leave them their first review. Like, hey, I wouldn't lie that this guy did work for me, but I would say, I know this gentleman.
I've worked with him.
I've worked with him. He's honest, does great work. Leave him a review. Go back to my house, grab my wife's phone, and leave another review for my wife's phone. So they would have at least 2 reviews to start with. And these are people that were opening up companies or looking for ways to compete with us. Now, long story, you're probably looking at this and going, well, how did that work out for you? Actually worked out great. Because the customers know who we are. The contractors know who we are. We have other contractors and termite companies referring us for complex jobs because they can't handle complex jobs.
Yep.
And as a matter of fact, it gives us scalability because a lot of dudes that worked for me or opened up similar companies have realized that running a construction company is more than knowing how to put nails in a wall. Right? So a lot of people think that if I know how to frame or if I know how to put in windows, I can run my own company. No, you don't. You can, but you're going to have to become a marketing specialist. Then you're going to have to become a salesperson. Then you're going to have to become an administrator, managing your own schedule.
Those things typically
Then you're going to go out and
Then
you're going to go out and put nails in the wall.
Yep.
Providing the actual service. Then you're going to have to do bookkeeping and accounting and taxes. And so a lot of gentlemen in the trades will go out there and start their own construction company and then realize, hey, I'm not good at marketing. I hate sales. I mess up on my schedule all the time. I can't do my own administrative work. But because I have a good relationship with a lot of these guys, they come back to me and go, hey, Dimitri, can I be your subcontractor? I've got 3, 4, 5 carpenters working for me. And that gives us the ability to have resources. So when we land a $5 million job or an $8 million job and the customer's asking us, hey, can you put 200 people on this job for me? My answer is yes. I can put 200 people on this job for you because I have a ton of carpenters working for us in-house, but I have 10, 15 contractors out here who I walked by hand into the Secretary of State and showed them how to open up a corporation. I drove them down to Chase and helped them open up a bank account. I made the IRS call to IRS on their behalf, getting them their tax ID number just to help them know how to open up a business. And it just so turned out that a lot of these gentlemen, the reason why they needed me to help them open their businesses is because they hated paperwork. They don't like this administrative stuff. They ended up with a construction company. They're out there doing good work, but they're usually a subcontractor. They're doing work for someone else. And so when I call in a favor to them and I say, Nick, I need 10 great carpenters for a month. Can you please come out there and help us out? They're all over it. So it gives us more flexibility, more power, more strength, and more resources to serve our clients better. But anyways, that's way off track. So if you're watching this and you're going, just to answer the question on what is Good Life, why are there different brands and names, you have a little bit of a better idea. If you want to know more, call us up. Come over to the office. We have a couple really nice espresso coffee machines. Hang out with us, chat around. We love making connections. This man, Stefan, right here, is a guy that's helped us propel us in the marketing world.
It's interesting to anyone watching this. It's about the people. We do this for the people. The money is, as you said, is a great byproduct. To tie back in and reconcile the statement I made earlier, Dmitry Tupikov, his family lives in this community. When you're only about the net profit, when it just feels greedy, you could have unplugged this thing and kept us at 80 people, and it's not necessarily generating more money for you. You do this for the people, and our people do it for the people. And I believe that that is what is enabling us to climb up on $50 million in revenue and over 200 employees. Is the spirit of what we do is loving the customers. We love our own people, and in turn, our people love on the customers. And that's how we have 30% market share in the inspection world, and that's how we continue to grow.
Well, love's the answer. To wrap this up, I just wanted to say I'm a pastor at a local Ukrainian church here in Sacramento. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ as King and Lord and the one and only true God. And I follow his teachings, and that reflects on our company. I don't push Christianity or religion down anybody's throat. That's why I love America. We came here for freedom of religion, and everybody is free to believe and do whatever they want to do. But there is a chapter 13 of Corinthians where Apostle Paul talks about love. And this was an eye-opener for me, and we implement this at work in our company, where he says love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, love does not boast, love does not seek its own, love always trusts, and he continues naming off 13 qualities of love. And when I read that passage, one time it actually revealed itself to me in English, because I usually read my Bible in Russian, even though I'm Ukrainian and live in America. That's why America's awesome. Love America. And when I read it in English, I was like, this is so applicable. If you love someone, you're going to be patient with them. If you love someone, you're going to be kind to them. If you love somebody, you're not going to envy them. You're actually going to want them to grow, which is what enables me to help my competition, because I don't envy them. I'm not jealous of them. I don't compete with them. I just want them to do well.
Yeah.
And as one really smart man, Bob Lund, said once that rising tides lift all ships. There's an abundance for everybody and enough. So love's the answer. If you just love the people around you in your business, which means it's like, what do you mean love? Are you going to kiss them, hug them, whatever? No, you're going to be patient with them. You're going to be kind with them, support them. You're going to trust them.
Yes.
And it's a funny thing that happens when you love on people, people love you back. So when I call somebody out of our company on a Saturday and I say, hey guys, rain's coming in, I need you to go out and tarp a roof.
Not even a question.
They're not doing it because they're out of fear for you or I.
Yep.
That they're not going to get their next promotion, they're not going to get their next raise or whatever. They're doing it out of love. Like, of course, dude, you need me to do something? I'm going to be all over it right now.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes us different, is we love. What do we do for a living? Well, we build houses, we repair houses. How do we do it? We do it with love.
Take care.